Good thing I re-downloaded Zoom. All right. I mean, we probably could have did this on Google Meet, but...
They're crunching up quality. I would never see a pixel and a smile.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the We Personally podcast. We are your hosts, Bree.
And Ayana.
And we don't know how to intro this podcast. We decided to start this podcast because we wanted to talk about, different topics. And honestly, every single time we are on the phone, it's basically a podcast episode just in a phone call.
Basically, we have to let down our hair after work, y'all. It's a necessary wind down, or else we just cannot calm down for the day and just chillax.
Yeah, and there's a lot happening in the world. Eggs are $10, and there's a lot going on. So we figured, why not start a podcast and talk about what's happening. And so I also wore this sweater in honor of our first episode because the sweater is the colors of our logo, I think. Yes, pink and orange.
Yes, orange and pink.
Yes.
So we both white. Yeah, you have the full logo.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
Nice. Yeah. So we both got the cozy vibes going. So we're just gonna hop right into it. So the first topic that we're gonna get into are the boycotts that are happening. So as we've seen, a lot of companies have been pulling back their DEI programs, and it's interesting because I think the government tried to do a Uno reverse on that. So it's weird seeing how companies said that they were going to pull back and now they're trying to pull it back in, but it's it's too late because you already said that you weren't gonna. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And so there's been lists going around. I'll try to find one to put on screen of just all the companies that have pulled back. And I know Target was the biggest one that everyone was really disappointed about because Target, from what we thought, was for minorities and people of color, and so
especially the Black creators. We were so excited until
they screwed us over. And so people have just been trying to figure out what to do, how to navigate this, and how to be more intentional with their dollar. And I know that there was a boycott. It was this boycott that lasted one day. I think it was at the end of February or the beginning of March, where everyone was okay, this one day, we're not going to buy anything. If we have to buy something, do local. Don't do credit cards, debit cards. Don't do anything, right? And I think there was really good intent behind it, but there's a question of, okay, is not shopping on just one day really going to do anything and make any type of impact, right? And I know I found out a couple of days ago that there's actually going to be a 40-day boycott on Target. And it started on March 5th, where basically everyone's gonna try to not purchase anything from Target for 40 days. And I definitely think that's gonna be a little bit more effective. But what I wanted to talk about is how do we go about these boycotts, and how do you think we can best take back control over not take back over control of the companies, but
more spend, take control of our dollars.
Yes.
Our dollars, who we're supporting, why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely their revenue stream. So I think at a base, the first thing we have to remember is, a lot of us haven't ever boycotted before. Or if we have, we're not used to sustaining it for a very long period of time. So I think the very first Target Target boycott that happened for that one day, I think was a really good trial run. But we have to remember that that's only just the trial one. It was only one day. No boycott would be completed and finished in a sprint. It'll take a marathon in order for us to actually see proper results. But I think with us starting with just one day, upping it to 40 days, and in due time upping it to more days, more weeks, more months, we're going to ease the public into getting more comfortable with no longer shopping at Target, making sure we're finding new alternatives, going to different stores to find what we're looking for too. Because I believe um, when a lot of the boycotts happened during last year October for Palestine, I think we saw a lot of boycott fatigue from that. We were overwhelmed by a lot of different brands that we had to boycott. We didn't know how long it would last. Slash, we knew it would last for however long till the ceasefire and then some. And folks were not. I don't think folks were put for the realities of not just how much big corporations have taken over all of these brands that we love, but the fact that this is a long haul and you can't just stop. So it's, I think, how we're choosing to go about the boycott now, while we're realizing like, yes, the one day is not going to have a huge effect. Um, it's teaching the public how to boycott. Is giving them a handheld direction day to weeks, and we're slowly building up to it till we can just keep going. So that's my first thought.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have more of a plan in place.
Mm,
And I do wonder if it's going to trickle down into doing it with other companies too. Because I also remember, like, when we looked at that long list, it was a lot.
yeah,
And
oh my
I think
gosh.
there was like a few gas companies on there too. And we were like, okay, so if we need to fill up on gas, we're kind of screwed. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember like during the whole like at the peak of Black Lives Matter, when we were like, okay, we're just gonna shop black. And then we looked and it's like, okay, well, there aren't really any black owned gas stations or, like there's some black owned banks, but I don't know if they're like, everywhere. Like they might only be in select areas. And it became not impossible, but the reality of, okay, if we were to only shop minority owned, how difficult that would be and how
Mm-hmm.
realistic is that? And that's why I'm glad too that when the Target stuff was initially happening, that we were having those conversations about like, okay, if there's a small minority owned business in Target, is us boycotting going to then hurt those businesses? So then we said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if we do shop at Target, make sure you're shopping minority owned when possible.
It definitely has been interesting, the discourse between whether they're choosing to totally not shop at Target, or to specifically only shop black owned, shop small business, and disregard everything else. Because to your point, like some small businesses only have their items in Target, only have their items in Walmart. So if you don't shop with them in these stores, there is nowhere else to shop. And while I do also think that like this will encourage some of these shops to open back up like their online stores, explore other avenues. Like I know some folks decided to go into, was it Costco, I believe, that we're supporting right now?
I
Yeah,
think.
because of the Costco membership card. Like some of them, some folks have been thinking about going. Some owners have been thinking about putting their stuff in Costco because that's where a little bit more benefit is. Walgreens has been doing pretty good because they didn't roll back their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's definitely just interesting watching this, and it's interesting, seeing as everyone's navigating and determining what is most comfortable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Are you comfortable going into Target at all, paying for anything, even if it's just a small business? Are you even comfortable with it, or do you just want to outright not and find a different way to support the businesses and the brand owners that are in there? I'll also say too that you mentioned earlier that this will probably kick off some other brands, some other things that is happening. The Amazon boycott started yesterday on the
Oh, I didn't
7th.
know that.
Yeah, there's an Amazon boycott happening from now to the 14th. So it's going to be a week long.
I just
Um,
got an Amazon package today. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know.
Amazon package. God. Ooh. Listen, we locked in now. It's okay. There's a calendar that was created that keeps track of all the different boycotts and all the different protests that are happening. So that's the only reason why I remember. But
Share that with me, please.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But yeah, this is definitely kicking off a huge shockwave. And this Amazon one is pretty big because you might only think Amazon is in Amazon Prime, but no, it includes Amazon Fresh. It includes, I believe, Kindle, Whole Foods, which was acquired by Jeff Bezos. Like,
Oh.
yeah, so there, it's not just simply Prime, you have to think of all the different pieces of Amazon that all come together. Goodreads, I think, was on that list too. Like, yeah,
Whew.
we're really just. I don't think I ever expected to see so many brands to boycott at once. I'm not gonna lie. In my day and age, like this, there's always been like this larger corporate greed and larger corporate corruption, but I've never sat down and thought about, how much stuff do they really own? Yeah, everything.
Yeah, especially again like Amazon, Facebook, like the big like corporate giants,
Mm-hmm.
Apple, like it. Yeah, and it's interesting too. Like again, seeing how like extensive these boycotts get, I think is gonna change people's relationship with consumerism a lot
Oh
too,
yeah, definitely.
because it's gonna just change the way that we shop and the things that we truly value. Do you need
Mm-hmm.
that new iPhone? Do you really need that package in 2 days? You know?
Definitely the like I hope it will make the over consumerism that we got used to, especially tying it to influencer culture. I hope that is now over. I think now folks get to the point of the iPhone is either going to be we're going to hang on to our phones a little bit longer, or you're going to start seeing people choose different brand. Which I think Apple might not be the best option though because they're choosing to keep their DEI. But just as an example, um, packages. I think it's not just we will stay away from rush shipping, expediting like Prime, but now we're willing to go to the small business, wait their 7 to 14 business day shipping time for a quality item like this right here too. Yeah, small business. You know what I mean? Well, we're willing to wait. And we know that our waiting will be well worth it. It'll pay off, and we'll be better planning for having to wait for seconds now instead of like, oh shoot, I forgot paper towels. Let me order them again. It'll be here by 6 p.m.
Yeah, because like I mean, there was a time where we literally didn't have that, so like
Yeah,
we could survive without Instacart or like 2 day shipping. So I don't know. I feel like things might go back to like simpler times.
people are gonna go to the grocery store.
People are actually gonna go to the store.
Now they're gonna go into the store and see $10 eggs and want to walk out right back outside, but they'll go back
Yeah.
to the grocery store nonetheless.
Like, oh my god. Just real quick side note, because this was not on the initial outline for the episode. But yeah, these grocery prices are insane. Like everyone's talking about the eggs. Something that two things that I noticed. One that we talked about is vanilla extract.
Mm-hmm.
I don't maybe I missed something because I just got into vanilla extract. But why is vanilla extract $10 plus? The bottle is only this big.
Quite literally that huge.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
$10. That's one thing I've noticed. The other thing that I noticed was grapes. I love snacking on some grapes, especially at work. But what I've come to realize is that a lot of the bags and even like the containers of grapes that you get,
Mm-hmm.
$7 for a little thing of grapes. And I'm like, what are we doing?
No, because knowing that the cost of our fruits and veggies, our fresh produce, is about to go up, it's about to make it's going to, how do I best say it? It's going to widen the gap between those who are able to afford it and those who can't. And the accessibility of fresh produce is about to it's going to be so different again, or at least it's going to be so much more obvious who can afford it and who can't, who is not in the class, who is not in the income bracket to afford just fresh food. And I never thought I would be sitting here saying, I don't make enough to have fresh food. I just want an apple. I just want some grapes. I want some bananas.
Right.
It's
And
just,
it's like, why do we like and I've always had this issue, so forgive me. I don't understand why organic fruit is a thing. Like, shouldn't the fruit already be organic because it's fruit?
girl, that's gonna be a whole nother video right there explaining it all that. Why is things organic versus not? Pesticide. GMO products.
Like it's
Okay.
so crazy. And that's why I don't blame people for now. Like I know you started your own little mini garden. People are now starting to grow their own stuff cuz it's getting hard out here. And I can also see at some point people starting to barter as well.
Mm-hmm. Have to. Which, if any of y'all starting chicken farms with some eggs, I'll at your girl. I need some. All right. Thank you very much.
Have you seen those TikToks of people getting like services done? Like they get their nails done, and the person's like, "Okay, it's gonna be $75." And they're like, "Okay, cool." And then they grab the eggs as payment.
I appreciate you, my boy.
My boy, how much it is?
It's 100, man.
100?
Yeah, I don't take cash no more.
I know you take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, these things expensive. All right, my boy, I appreciate it. Hold on. Now, you ain't charge that much. Now, come on, man. I got kids to feed.
I'm gonna need 3.
I got kids to feed, though. Hey, man, go ahead and cash these nippers in right there.
Hey man, I ain't accepting no cash right now.
I know you accept the egg.
Oh hell yeah!
I know you accept the egg. How many eggs for
Hey
that?
man, give me 3 eggs.
Nah, ain't no, come on, man. Eggs expensive now. Last time I gave you 2 eggs. Don't do that now. You trying to, I know y'all trying to do that.
Damn, man.
You have a good one now.
Hey, what's happening,
What's
man?
going on, y'all, brother?
You can
Look,
get
man, I
something.
ain't got nothing. All I got is
We
$1.
don't want that, man. We want them eggs,
Oh,
man.
man, y'all gonna have to split this one.
Come on,
Y'all
man.
y'all gotta split that one, man. Cause
One egg, man.
y'all want the money or you want the egg?
Hey, man, we got the egg, man.
I can't get y'all no more eggs, man. Eggs too
What's up with
expensive,
that,
man.
man?
That's too expensive, man. Y'all can't keep
You
doing
got
that.
no more eggs?
No.
My wife, what car is it?
Oh, the black truck.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 eggs.
2 eggs?
Yeah.
No, I need 4 eggs. I'm gonna need 4 eggs to watch my boy.
Man,
My
come
boy,
on, man.
what you know,
Hey man,
Fuck, get that.
That shit don't go.
Come on. Let's stop. Put your head down.
I can't get my
Put your head
back.
down, man. Put your head down.
Come on, bet that egg. Bet that last egg.
That's scrub egg,
Bet
huh?
that last egg.
Egg crack.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't want to hear that. Y'all should have been in bed. Y'all boy have a good one.
Let's roll again.
Yeah.
Can I keep on the scramble?
Listen, counting about 5 of them eggs. Here you go. $5 right there on the table, man. I think I'm also just thinking about, because it keeps, with the grocery prices rising, tariffs that are coming, it's only going to continue to get worse with the fruits and veggies. But I know there was alcohol that was on that list, there was gas that was on that list. We're going to be feeling the ramifications of this for a while, I predict. And I genuinely hope that as a community we choose to turn to lean on each other, and we choose to barter, we choose to help one another out, because I think the moment we turn to say, hey, every man for himself, yeah, the more divided we are, the harder it's going to be, the harder the struggle. We really need to come together in order to get through all this.
Yeah, for sure. Because people have said, it takes going through tough times to bring people together. And I hate that that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like with just how the world is crumbling, I feel like what's going to come out of that is people coming back together. So I do hope at some point we can, become a better community and, a collective. I was trying to figure out how to segue into the next topic, but I can't think of one. So I'm gonna just hop right into the next topic. So Instagram. Don't we all love Instagram? Isn't Instagram just great and lovely? So obviously Instagram has Instagram Reels. I don't remember when Reels first came out, but when they first
Pandemic,
released,
probably a little bit earlier.
probably yeah, like around like 2020, around that time. Obviously they launched Reels as a direct competitor to TikTok, but they haven't been able to quite beat out TikTok. And with the recent talks of a ban, which that whole situation was crazy. But apparently a ban is still in the air and TikTok could still get banned at some point. And so with talks of that happening, Instagram is considering taking Reels, I guess, off of the main Instagram platform and creating their own app as just Reels. Me personally, I'm not the hugest fan of Reels in general. I don't watch Reels a whole ton, and if I do, it's maybe for 5 minutes. it's just it doesn't hit like TikTok does, and even TikTok to a certain extent. I'm not scrolling TikTok all day long, but with Instagram Reels, it's like I don't know, it's hit or miss, and I feel like a lot of people have fatigue when it comes to Instagram in general. And
Yes.
so them taking, in my opinion, one of their like biggest selling points of the app off of off of Instagram and making it its own app, I just don't think that's gonna go well. I can see people downloading it for the hype and just to kind of see what it's gonna look like and how it competes to TikTok, but I feel like it might end up being another thread situation where it's like, okay, this is cool, but like, yeah, I don't know. So, what are your thoughts about one, Instagram Reels becoming its own app, but two, do you think there's a world where there's gonna be an app that beats out TikTok or is better than TikTok?
Hey, so to your first question, I think I'll definitely first say I love Reels. I love TikTok more than Reels, but I do love Reels. Reels is how I grew my personal account first and foremost. It was my first exposure to any type of video content, and it's what got me comfortable as a creator. But some of y'all might remember back in the day when we had IGTV. I remember IGTV. IGTV used to be its own app too, and we saw that it's no longer here.
Oh, I didn't know it was his own app.
Yes, IGTV used to have its own app until it did. you know, I don't like the idea of it becoming its own app. I think one for the sake of the user, like keeping it all just within the Instagram app would just be easier. Because them coming out with the Reels app, them coming out with the Edits app at some point this month too, where you can edit your videos, like
Threads.
Threads. Like, okay, we have all these different meta apps. No surprise, right? But specifically IG focused apps that in one way or another are directly competing with TikTok or any other social media adjacent. So you got Edits competing with CapCut. You got this Reels app now going to be competing with TikTok. I just don't think that they can compete with TikTok. However, we saw Vine get shut down before. I think instead of it being competitors, at some point TikTok might need to be shut down, and then where is everyone going to go? The Reels app next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, cause the other thing too is there was like rumors of like, oh, Meta already bought TikTok because people were seeing like it was something with Facebook, like you could link your TikTok to your Facebook, and people were like, oh my god, like Meta must have bought TikTok. But I wonder if that was the case, if something fell through with the deal, and maybe that's why now they're like, okay, well, since we're not getting TikTok, let's make our own TikTok.
I do wonder because I think from what I last heard, there were rumors that Microsoft acquired it.
Oh.
Obviously, that was never confirmed or denied. And seeing as we're still under some type of ban, it means that the acquiring hasn't quite become solidified yet. I think, okay, I've always found it really interesting that Instagram has been just not monopolizing, but we'll see an app doing very well and say, ooh, take that from us. You know what I mean? Like, we see this with Threads and Twitter. So, not X who, Threads and Twitter, right? You know, we see it with Snapchat and stories. We see Reels and TikTok. Like, for a while, it was Pinterest too. They used to have the boards you can do, not boards, the folders that you can have on Instagram that they took away. I miss those, by the way. Give me back my folders.
I miss when you could see what other posts people liked.
Yeah, man. Taking away the good stuff. I also, by the way, as a side note, hate how the profile currently looks. That new format is
Oh.
Make my name bigger.
Yeah.
Anyways, they always have such a funny knack of just saying snitch, snitch, snatch, 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 grabbing different pieces of all these apps to all put it on Instagram. And at this point in 2025, it feels like Instagram has lost the plot, which is something that creators have been saying for a very long time. It's a photo sharing app in its description, but we are sharing a whole lot of video for a photo sharing app. And we can't even get seen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wonder if it'll take something like a Reels app flopping for them to finally sit down and rethink what they want Instagram to be. So just now it just feels like it's the app that is everybody in one. And that's not quite, I'm not looking for a marketplace vibe on my social media. That's not in my cards. Okay.
No, yeah, like Instagram feels like it's going through an identity crisis. Like they don't know
Yeah.
what they want to do, what they want to be, and like I miss the days where like all these apps were different and they had their own purpose. Cuz I remember the day, I think I was in middle school when Instagram introduced stories.
Oh yeah.
And even then, I'm like, oh, that's dirty. They're trying to get rid of Snapchat. And I'm not going to lie, it worked because I don't be on Snapchat at all.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And just seeing all these apps, again, trying to steal from each other. Because you have Instagram that basically has everything at this point. Then you have, even TikTok is guilty of this. TikTok got TikTok stories.
And then they did that the long videos like YouTube.
Yep, 10-minute videos on TikTok. And then Twitter tried to do Twitter stories.
Along with Twitter Spaces like Clubhouse.
Yes, which they actually do still have spaces, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, y'all just stick to what you know. Now, obviously, when you are growing a brand, yes, you should evolve and you should, offer what the people want. But the key phrase in that is what the people want. I don't think people were asking for Twitter stories. I don't think people were asking for TikTok stories. People are not asking for a Reels app.
No. What the people have been asking for is for their stuff to be seen by their friends. And for less ads. I miss the day and this is a lot coming from folks who work in marketing. I get we probably can't speak. But I do miss being able to be on social media and there wasn't so much advertising. I am bombarded. And it overwhelms me so bad that one, I'm missing my friend's post because I got 5 different posts in a row saying, you should check out this dress from Shein. Like, bro, I don't even shop at Shein. Stop playing with me. Right?
Sorry, speaking of Shein, I just remember something that I meant to bring up in the last topic when we were talking about the boycotts. Shein almost got me. So because I remember it was that day, that 1 day boycott where you weren't supposed to purchase anything, right? And I already had an order coming in from Shein, and I was checking on it because it hadn't came yet, and like it was supposed to have came. So I was just going into the app to check on my order. I go into the app, and I get a coupon for $200 off. Yes.
200?
It was it was crazy. It was like if you purchase $200 worth of stuff. Yeah, that's what it was. If you buy $200 worth of stuff, you'll get a $200 coupon to use on your next order. And I was like, oh, word. So I'm sitting there, I'm adding stuff to my cart, and I'm like, wait, today's the day of the boycott. They're doing this because of the boycotts.
That's correct. Gosh, you need to delete that app anyways, friend. She gets you every time. Take that off your phone.
I needed some jeans.
Oh my goodness. Ooh, your jeans particle will be a podcast episode.
Oh man, what? Trying to find jeans for petite people. That is an episode. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're all good. I think you had a second question. I'm trying to remember if I answered it already for the app.
Oh, do you think there's gonna be a US based app that beats out TikTok?
I don't know. I don't think something's gonna beat out TikTok because it's just I think it's gonna be Gen Z's Facebook. I'll put it like that. Like I think boomers have Facebook, millennials have TikTok, Gen Z has TikTok. And I think that this app will always be our app for a very long time, unless it gets banned, in which case we're going back to Instagram, back to YouTube. Um, yeah, I think what I am interested in is what is next.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never thought I was going to see a TikTok. I never thought of that. Clubhouse, I never thought of that. What now? Which, before we get on that, I also just remembered, like, TikTok by itself, it just started a huge wave. Like, you have Instagram with Reels, YouTube with Shorts. You know what I mean? Like, the effects that TikTok has had in marketing has been astronomical. What it's had and the effects of convincing influencers to be more authentic in their content, it's been crazy. So I hope TikTok does not go away because it has been doing some good stuff, in my honest opinion. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I know there was this one app, was it Red Note?
Yes, Red Note, yeah.
Yeah. Was that, did you check that one out?
I did.
How did you
I'm
like
looking
it?
for work. It's okay. So I don't think it was bad. I should first say that.
Mm-hmm.
I think once the boycott, not the boycott, once the ban happened, I checked it out, got a feel for it. It did feel like a safe space. A lot of like creators flocked over there just to not just really post their content, but to still find some type of community, kind of. But it's very important to keep in mind that you can't just be running over there like you are on US TikTok. And a lot of people got in trouble, slash, they got caught up because they were trying to post stuff that they can't post, like anime, for example, right? Um, and it would get them kicked off the app, it would get the videos taken down. So I'm like, I'm just gonna stay silent. You know, I think this is just one of those apps where you watch, where you see. And at some point, I was eventually like seeing a lot of comments from folks saying like so many US folks came into the app that was originally a Chinese app, and now the folks from China, like, there wasn't, it was mixing so much they couldn't find their own content properly.
Mm-hmm.
That made me feel very bad because that's, I don't think we ever wanted to walk in like an invasive species and just take over it. So I chose to not do much anymore and wait for TikTok to come back, which for some crazy reason it came back in a day. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, with apps like Red Note and Blue Sky and I want to say Lemonade, but apparently Lemonade is now owned by TikTok. So,
Yes, it is.
you know, and
I'm not even on Lemonade. Yeah.
they're trying to be the next Pinterest. Which go ahead.
Oh no, finish your thought first because I have there is a new app that I just got invited to join. I can talk about.
Okay. Yeah, like Lemonade, like it's cool. It's cute. I actually don't mind it. What I did mind though is that because again, I don't know when they acquired it, but I had a Lemonade account like that was not connected to my TikTok. And apparently when they decided to merge, all my stuff got deleted. And now I got to start over, and I don't want to start over.
No.
So I have not even been on that app because I just been very salty. But yeah, tell me about the app that you found.
So I got invited to join Venable. I believe that's how you pronounce the name. Venable is basically like a suggestions type of app. So you make, yeah, it's called Venable. Okay, good. It's a suggestion type of app. So basically, creators are being invited, invite only, invite codes. They make these lists of suggestions. So, for example, my list is like a Black owned apartment list, which all the brands have Black owned products, and we're building like my first apartment. If budget was not an issue, and named it like Pinterest board worthy bohemian decor, right?
Ooh.
They'll every single link you put in there, because you can organize it out by sections. Like mine is like bedroom, dining room, living room, whatever. Every single link in there is an affiliate link, and they push your link, your board, your list to Google search for people to actually find your list, look through your finds, and if they purchase something through your link, you get a commission. Right. So I've been meaning to tell you this because I wanted to invite you to see if you wanted to see it too. But it's very interesting now because that one, like you were mentioning, these apps still taking pieces from each other. It feels a little bit like Pinterest, but it feels very much like LTK. And I'm on LTK, and it's the same thing. Except LTK is very limited, in my opinion, in who is able to have their stuff be promoted by LTK creators. Bendable, you could basically put in any link to almost any company under anything, and it would make you an affiliate. So I was able to find black-owned brands. I was able to find small businesses, get a link, and now I'm like, oh, I can support small businesses now and get commission as a creator. This is exactly what I've been looking for now that I feel like LTK is just maybe not fitting the type of content that I make. So these new apps are coming in real fast, man. I didn't think we'd be getting something like this.
Yeah, I'm surprised that hasn't been getting more buzz.
I'm surprised too. It looks like it must be relatively new. When I looked to see who was following it, I only had 2 mutual creators following it. So it looks like they must be reaching out now. So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in due time. Hopefully, I think it'll be helpful in the sense of like we love going to TikTok for recommendations. Now we can go to Venable for some lists.
Yeah, definitely send me the link to that. Last topic. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this whole braiding hair situation. So, for those of y'all who do not know, Consumer Reports did a report on some of the top braiding hair brands out there. And they found that in all 10 samples of the braiding hair, that there were carcinogens in the hair, which basically means that there were cancer causing chemicals in all of these brands. And again, these were like the top 10. Like think of your like Sensational Hair, Expressions, the top braiding hair companies, they all were linked to cancer causing chemicals. So, Ayana, you have locks.
I do.
You have locks. So you don't necessarily have to worry about this, but you were natural longer than you've been locked. So I am curious to hear your thoughts about one, the fact that braiding hair might be giving us cancer, but also, when you were getting protective styles, were you getting any weird reactions from the hair? Did you feel like it was irritating your scalp at all? And do you almost feel a difference in your hair health from when you were, or not from when you were natural, but when you had protective styles versus now with you being locked?
Okay, so let me think. I'll first tackle the hair health question. Do I feel like my scalp is better? So I will say I think that my scalp had better, has naturally just has good tolerance, whether my hair has been locked with retwists or having my box braids, my goddess locks. It's all been my scalp has been able to tolerate a lot. But I will say I have plenty of friends where that was not the same story. Not the same story. And I definitely found that like when I wasn't going to like a hair store and instead I'm going to like Amazon and I'm buying my hair. Probably not the smartest thing for me to be doing. My scalp definitely was getting itchier faster. I didn't like that. What's the first question again? I need to write down your questions. Actually, now I think about it.
No, you're good. Like what are your thoughts on the fact that they found cancer causing chemicals in the hair? Because I know some people have said like, oh, it's an attack on black women, and I don't know. I don't want to play into conspiracy theories, but it is interesting that literally like all the hair had something. Because normally, like when these companies do tests and they get samples, it's very rare that every single sample comes back with the same result. So the fact that all of the hair had carcinogens in it, yeah. So I just want to get your overall thoughts on that.
So I do know, I remember seeing a video the other day from a guy who caught that when they were doing their sample test, they didn't repeat the experiment enough times for it to be conclusive. Not to say that this isn't true, but I do at least want to flag that someone caught that they didn't perform this test enough times for it to actually yield conclusive results properly. But I'm also not gonna lie, I'm not surprised. And I feel like I'm not surprised that we found these carcinogens because the hair is synthetic. I think anything that has some type of synthetic nature to it. I'm starting to learn not everything has some type of microplastic, some type of cancer causing something. Everything floating in there just has something
Girl,
in it.
the hair, the deodorant,
Deodorant,
everything got
the
something in it.
glasses, the dish soap, like everything got something in it. Okay. And I think, first of all, we Black women are tired. And the amount of comments I saw from folks saying, damn. Anyways, and they continue to keep going because there's just so much stuff that is basically contaminated with craziness that we're like, come on, please. Now, I do hope that this turns folks to finding some alternative solutions for where they source their hair. There is a braiding company that I know, and I have to find it. I'm trying to look through Instagram right now, where when they make their braiding hair, they use, I believe, like palm fronds or like banana leaves. They use some type of sustainable resource in order to make their hair so then it's less itchy on your scalp. Obviously, it doesn't have those carcinogens. Like, it's knowing that there are folks who are making these type of alternatives probably had a feeling that the hair that's synthetic isn't good for our hair, isn't good for our scalp, isn't good for us way in advance. And now we're all seeing this come to light. Those are my main thoughts so far. I'm pretty sure there are more thoughts floating around, but those are the first things I want to say. If you're looking for some alternative options on where you can get hair, there is one called Heat Free Hair. Heat Free Hair just now they now have new braiding hair as an option. So originally Heat Free Hair gave you units that you can use for your wigs, that you can use for like installs and everything. Now they added braiding hair to their catalog. They're pretty cool.
Nice.
They're pretty cool. And then the other one I was trying to find is called Rebundle. Rebundle, this is what their page looks like. I don't know if y'all can even see it. It's probably inverted, but that's them. Yeah. Oh, it left the page. Anyways, check out Rebundle. I'm definitely going to get more details on them as I'm saying it. Because I found them, I want to say I found them, if not over the pandemic, a little bit after. Because I wanted to see if there were alternatives to braiding hair just for kicks and giggles. And lo and behold, there is. So let's see. It is safe, non-toxic, and plant-based.
Nice. Okay.
I'm honestly surprised that I'm like trying to find their about section, and I am surprisingly not finding those. There we go. It's free, so it's no vinegar soaking or excessive padding that you'll need. It's made with biodegradable ingredients, so it's guilt-free disposal with less worry about waste, and it's vegan friendly with no animal-derived ingredients.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to check that out because so this was very alarming for me. As someone that keeps protective styles in rotation often. This was very alarming for me because, I get protective styles done all the time. I've also been doing my own hair for a cool minute, and it's funny because a lot of the brands that they tested were brands that you typically find in a hair store. And I don't typically get my hair from a hair store. I typically get it from Amazon. And anyone that has seen the braiding hair stores on Amazon, they're very random, out the country. Who knows where they're sourcing their hair. But, I assumed because it was being sold on Amazon that it would be safe enough to be used. But now I'm like, okay, if these big hair brands are being linked to, even if it's not cancer causing chemicals, there's probably something there. There's probably something going on with that hair. So if the big brands are getting away with that, imagine some of these smaller companies on Amazon. And so I'm like, okay, like, am I not going to be able to do protective styles anymore? Because honestly, with me, like, I haven't had any, like, super terrible reactions, but I would be lying if I said that my scalp be struggling sometimes. Now, typically it's because I just be doing the hair too tight, or I be for okay, because Ayana knows this already. So when I do my hair,
Trauma.
I typically like to use the rubber band method to do my hair because it's quick, it's easy, and I don't really know how to grip my hair. Now, what I've come to realize is one, the rubber bands are supposed to pop. And I have historically done them very tight because, I didn't want the hair to, get too loose or anything. Now, when I was moving into my new apartment, I wanted to do like a quick little hairstyle just to get me through. So I did, some jumbo box braids with the rubber bands. I attempted to take the braids out myself because I also, booked a hair appointment when I was down here. And also, Ayana was down here with me as well. And so here I am. I got this appointment the next morning. So the night before, the night before my appointment, I'm trying to take these braids down. I'm like, okay, well, they're jumbo, so it shouldn't take me long. It's not that many in my head, y'all. I don't know. I think it was a combination of many things. I think it was the rubber bands. I think it was the fact that I had my hair in twists. Like they also weren't loose. And there was just a lot of tingulation going on in my scalp. And so I was having a really hard time getting this hair out. And then at one point, I was trying to just simply cut it out of my hair. And I ended up cutting my hair. And my hair is pretty long. And basically I cut it to where it's like it's like this long. And I literally came to Ayana on the verge of tears, like, please.
Mind you, I was in the shower. Just trying to unwind because I think we spent the day like either shopping or we were unpacking still for you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm gonna chill out. She's undoing her hair. We're gonna turn on whatever gameplay we were watching, and then you just knock. Oh my god, we all. That was an SOS. That was an SOS.
I was in distress. But basically what I was trying to get at is the way that I've done my hair hasn't been scalp friendly, so I think that's more so been the source of my issue. Mm-hmm. However, there have been certain times where the braiding hair did irritate my scalp, because whenever I would try to do a protective style that was either like red or ginger, I had to take that out quick, and I do have a red dye allergy. So I do wonder if I just can't do red dyed hair, which sucks because I loved the way it looked. But I may not be able to do that. Now, with that being said, even though I've never had like a huge reaction from braiding hair like that, weave? Oh man.
Yeah, your girl stayed away from weave. I didn't want to even try my luck there.
Because I did think, I'm like, okay, if there's something going on with the braiding hair, like I wonder if that also applies to bundles. And when I was in high school, I got my first ever sew-in. I was doing this, like, I was in this group of like, this company was doing like senior photo shoots as like a promo, and I was like a part of their little like group, so I got to get free senior photos. And one of the photo shoots was us in the water. So obviously I didn't want to get my hair wet. And so my mom was like, okay, I'll let you get a sew-in this one time so you can protect your hair with the water. I'm like, okay, cool. I got this sew-in, child. I lasted 5 days. And I only lasted 5 days because I had 5 days of school. Like I had to I didn't want to like take it out and not have my hair done for school. So I waited until Friday to take it out, but it was bad. Like my scalp wasn't bleeding, but almost. Like it was pretty bad. It was red. There were bumps everywhere. It was inflamed. Yes.
Bree. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. And it sucked because everybody complimented me on my hair. They're like, "Oh my god, your hair looks so great." Didn't even last a week. It was bad. And again, I don't know if that was just because of the brand. I don't know if that's just because my scalp just couldn't handle bundles being sewed in, because that was again my first sewing, and at that time my hair was also relaxed, like, so I don't know if it also just didn't have the strength to to handle a sew-in either. So yeah, I don't know, but I've definitely seen a few women on TikTok talk about how their hair has given them some type of reaction and how they had to take it out shortly after. And so I don't know, there might be something to this, and I do wonder, like, with this report coming out, if any changes will be made. But I know that there were reports about relaxer causing issues for black
We've
women,
been hearing that for years, yeah.
and
Man.
they never took it off the shelf. So who knows?
I definitely wonder, like, I don't, it's not much of a question of what will it take, because I think the black community, especially black women, knew that perms relaxer, like, knowing that especially perm can cause your hair to fall out if left in too long. Like, we knew that it was not good to use in our hair, especially for long term use, right? But I don't know. I think we'll definitely see. Like I said, I personally hope we get a whole lot more of these brands who have some good alternatives, so then we can steer away from these brands that could be causing these problems. Because oh my gosh, an inflamed scalp and friend, yeah, no.
Like, y'all don't understand. My scalp has had a time. It has. Like, it sucks because it's like I like getting my hair done and I like experimenting with different styles, but it's always something, whether it's just too tight or it's causing some type of reaction. Like, even wigs to a certain extent. Like, I also really enjoy wearing wigs, but they tend to be very itchy. And so it's just like, oh my god. And I know people are probably thinking like, oh, just wear your natural hair. Yes. Yes. And I have been trying to do that more. But I like to experiment, and I think that we should still be able to do protective styles, especially braids, because braids is literally ingrained in our history. You
Yeah, it's
know,
culture.
it's culture. So yeah, I don't know. I just, oh Lord. Eggs are $10 and braids are causing cancer. The world
Hey,
is just
hey
crumbling.
man, come join me on the lock side. Save some coin, save some coin.
You know,
Yes.
it I'm not gonna lie, this situation did make me think about it again. I don't know, like, there's certain hairstyles that I still want to be able to do that I can't do with locks. I think that's the hold up for me. But I
One
don't
day I'll
know.
convince her, y'all. In due time.
I don't know, because then I also don't want to, like, I want to make sure I'm not doing it just because it's,
Trendy right now.
yeah, because it is kind of a trend right now. But
Which, can we unpack that for a second?
sure.
Because, like, I grew up, we both grew up at a time where locks, especially, like, at least for me and my family, locks were deemed as something you should never have.
Yes.
Because you would get a lot of the negative stereotypes that comes with it. Meanwhile, I had plenty of friends that had locks, whose families were locks, who, like, this is something that's culturally ingrained in them, or like they have their moms, their dads, their brothers, their sisters, everyone has locked hair. So one, I do find it very beautiful that now locks is in its own way coming to its realm of acceptance. But I can also 1,000% understand the bitterness of locks, my locked friends who have been locked for a very long time, who have been like, y'all late. One. Two, y'all didn't want to talk about all this until Chloe and you
Holly.
already know, you know what I mean? You already know I was about to go with this. Came to the scene, and now everybody wants to have locks, because now it's like, oh, you can see that you can do so many different styles with them. You can still actually have locks, we still do straight hair, you can still do all these different things, you can know how to manipulate them. Now people are like, oh, no, no, no. They'll be saying all of a sudden you like locks all of a sudden, which I can understand that. But I don't know. Because honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it made me rethink locks. Like for a long time, I didn't see myself having locks either, not because of the stereotype, but because I equally wanted to do so much with my hair. And then I graduated college and I switched my whole aesthetic. And I said, locks look kind of nice.
You know,
Over here.
like, because to your point, I do think that Chloe and Holly, especially as it became more mainstream, I do think that they had a lot of an impact on Black women and how they viewed locks. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I see all the TikToks and I see the Instagram posts and the reels, and I'm like, y'all do look real nice in the locks, y'all do. And I'm just like, but also like, because when I decided to go natural, I did it at a time where it was kind of trendy, and I didn't do it like solely for that reason, but it definitely was a thing of like,
It was
okay,
a huge natural trend, yeah.
and it's becoming more accepting now, and so it made me feel more comfortable with doing it because more people were doing it at that time. And so if I were to do it, I want to make sure that it's definitely something that I really want to do. Because although people say that you can comb out your locks, I look at locks as very much like a permanent decision. Like, that's not something that I would want to reverse. So
that's basically where I'm at with it. Like, if I think I'm of the mind of wanting to learn, like, how do they do these cover-ups with locks where you can still have braids, where you can still have straight hair. I know some girls figured out how to do the wigs and everything. Like, that's what I want to figure out is how can I still have my locks while doing everything else? Because some girlies be having locks waist down.
Yeah.
They just be tucking it in one real good time, and all of a sudden they don't look like they have locks at all. Y'all impressive, by the way. Y'all can put some comments on how y'all be doing that. I will be taking notes, okay? Because otherwise, I hope I have my locks forever. Otherwise, and if I have to cut them off, there must be a change in time. You might need to check in on me if I cut my locks. It's a change in time. Something's wrong.
I know. Like, because honestly, because I am always doing a protective style, I'm like, locks low key are like a protective style in a sense, you know?
They really honestly are. I'm not going to even lie to you. I wake up in the morning, I do a daily mist spray, and then I might do oil once every 1 or 2 days, and that is it. Anything else? Because I also go to a hairstylist to get my hair done, washed, and everything. But it's definitely more cost effective, in my opinion, depending on the lock you get. If you get in something like sister locks,
that's the other thing too. Because I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Okay, so I was on TikTok last night, and I was looking up different size locks, right? And I was seeing, because I always knew about like sister lock, because sister locks, yeah, like that you locked in, like ain't really
locked in.
You ain't combing out.
And the minis.
You ain't combing out no sister locks.
You have to cut the whole hair off. I'm sorry. There's no way I'm gonna sit there and.
But then it was like, okay, so I was looking at people that had like medium to small locks. And well, funny enough, because I was gonna mention this off of the podcast, but I guess I'll bring it up now. So there was a TikTok that I saw last night about this girl that had locks, and she was saying how as her locks have grown longer, it's actually been more difficult to do the hairstyles that she did when she had shorter hair. And she was mentioning like the hairstyle that you have. Like she was like, I could do that at this length, but once my hair got longer, I could no longer do that. So that was something else that I took into consideration. I'm like, ooh, okay. And then I did start to see the girlies that had the micro locks.
I will if I got micros, I'm never taking those out.
And I'm like, I low key like how the micros look. I'm not gonna lie, but thinking about I was more so thinking about the retwist process with micro, because that's several hours in a chair.
That's days. Like, Unless you got multiple hands, then it might be several hours. Otherwise, and I know that's why I see a lot of my friends who have the minis, who have the sister locks. They do their own retwists during their own time. They pop on the TV and they over there getting it because it's very expensive, in my opinion, from what I've seen. Now, does the expense make sense? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Through all that, yeah, charge your coin. Let's take some time, but it is still rather expensive to get a retwist done when you have smaller locks, and a lot of girls just get into it, you know?
Yeah. And then also factoring in too, like everyone's locks aren't gonna look the same
Nope.
either. So I can't be like, I want my locks to look like hers, because same thing with me going natural. I didn't know what my curl pattern was gonna be before it happened. I just had to accept, what it was gonna be. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say for sure, but has it crossed my mind? It has. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but yeah, that is it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed the episode, make sure you guys subscribe for more. We're gonna see about getting the podcast on other platforms like Spotify and maybe Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, yeah.
But for right now, YouTube is going to be our main platform. And if you guys have any comments about any of the topics that we talked about today, make sure you guys leave them down below and let us know if there's any other topics that you guys want us to cover on the channel as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.